Greetings. This is Skyler Saunders seeing what's current. Now, it's that time of year again, where mostly young students, 18 and 19 years old, flock to the different colleges, at least in America. I'm going to deal with America and specifically my state of Delaware. I just wanted to say how it's always been something that it always astonished me at how the different students came back to school or starting school and the different social aspects. I think one of the best movies to display the social aspects of college was The Social Network. I mean, we hear about in the news, about student loans and forgiving student debt and what are the parents going to do? Are they still going to spend their money on their kids? They're going to use FAFSA and all this different things. And that's cute. That's fine. But what really the kids are looking for, they're looking to go and get laid. They're looking to have designer drugs. They're looking to have parties. That's the social scene in college. That's what it's about. They want to do all the, stuff that they wouldn't have been able to do in their hometown, possibly. They wouldn't have been able to meet as many other people of different races. That's something that's a sticking point with especially, white white fathers and their daughters. And they have to probably wonder how many black men is she going to lay down with during her college career? That ever in their minds. I've had personal experience with a snowflake who was in college at the time. She was of age. She was 20 years old. I was 23 at the time of the involvement, shall we say. And it just is amazing how we block that out. But it's one of the things, the best things in art. I think Aristotle said it. Art is more important than history, or I'm paraphrasing, in a sense, because it shows that, it's not about, well, in the minds of the students, it's not about, just getting good grades and making sure you make the dean's list for this semester. It's about seeing how many people you can, do a keg stand with, There are thousands of colleges and universities in the United States of America. I think we're second behind China or India. And we have, to explore that. We have to show that. We have to, explain to other people that we're understanding each other. And before I go any further, let me explain that I have a target for $80 to. Hold on, that's me up. Have a target for. Let's see. Today's target is $80. And here's an advertisement. Subscribe to Smooth Tunes on Spirit Smooth Tunes on YouTube.com. That's Spirit Smooth Tunes on YouTube. Subscribe. Make sure you let him know that he's doing a great job. Let him know that he has excellent music selection. Quiet Storm, R&B, soul, jazz, all that. It's excellent. He's doing a wonderful job. That's Spirit Smooth Tunes on YouTube. Okay. Now, like I said, it's about the social life to most people in college, and like I said, I'm doing a little bit of the film work today. I'll be reviewing 2 other films later on, but the Social Network, I'm not going to review it, but I'm just going to give you examples of how, within the film, without spoiling it, it's based on a true story, but without the thematic spoiling. It's about drinking, having sex, Who you gonna hook up with? Who you gonna be with? Let's create a multi-billion-dollar company out of being drunk and stupid on my own blog. That's the amazement of college, and especially in places like Harvard and other Ivy League institutions. They hold on to something that is universal. I'm not sure about other countries. I would imagine other countries. I didn't research this part, but I think they come back to school as well. I'm concerned with, specifically Delaware, because this is the weekend where freshmen and juniors and sophomores, juniors and seniors return to their dorm rooms, and they offer the school vacation, offer summer vacation. So it's very weird to me how we don't talk about too much about the social aspects of college and universities. We have to talk about how HBCUs. Some people genuinely want to just go to a black school where there are more intellectuals, like Toni Morrison. She didn't have a lot of intellectuals around her when she was growing up. There were plenty of black people. She had a mixed uh, neighborhood. There were Poles, there were Jews, there were Italians, and a whole slew of other people. But she wanted to experience, black and even other black people that weren't very intellectual. She wanted to attend Howard University, so she went to Washington D.C. and got her undergraduate degree. Then she went off to Cornell and got her master's degree, and then went on to editing and then writing. And that was what but it stemmed from wanting to go to a HBCU. Is that the reason? What is the reason why white people go to HBCUs? I want to know that. Nobody ever talks about that, or I hardly ever hear it. Why do white people go to HBCUs? Do they want to have the black experience? Are they like little Rachel Dolezals, whom I support? Because at least somebody wants to be black. But I just want to see what happens when she, has her hands in the air and the police are on her. See how she reacts to that. And she's still black in that situation. But no, I digress. I want to know what the difference is between, the idea of the financial and the political aspects of college and university, and the social aspects, which I think are more, prevalent among the college students. And how many of them are, taking birth control pills, and how many of them get abortions? The young ladies or young females and women. How many of them do that? How many of them are free to lay down with the BBC and continue on with their studies and go on to do great things, like earn a bachelor's degree and earn a master's degree? That's wonderful. But at the same time, that same young lady, young female, was slumming around with the darkies, with the black people. And then there's so many others. Yellow people getting with red people, brown people getting with white people, and it's just a whole mishmash of different cultures and ideals coming together. And like in the movie Social Network, after all the cake and watermelon, you're gonna want to get laid. That's the whole point. In a lot of people's eyes, the whole point should be on your scholastics, of course. Wagging my finger. But I think that, especially since, this is such a touchstone and cultural movie that has definitely stood the test of time. One of the scenes is with the president, Larry Summers. And he says, essentially, about the two Winklevoss twins, about them having their alleged ideas stolen from them by Mark Zuckerberg. They discussed the fact that it's against Harvard law, and there's no such thing as Harvard law. That's a funny joke, because there is obviously the Harvard Law School. So that was a little play on words. That was a little pun. But he just said, if you think somebody came up with, stole something from you, come up with something else. Come up with something new. Come up with a new thing. Most Harvard students don't want a job. They want to create a job. They want to make jobs. They want to create their own business and build up that way. So I think that's true for every college. I mean, and depending on the endowments, Harvard is the largest. I almost said corporation. Technically, it could be a corporation, but it's the largest endowed institution either in just America or at least in America and in the world. I think it's. Let me make 100% sure. Let me make 100% sure. Harvard endowment. Yes. Yes, Harvard. Yes, Harvard University endowment valued at, listen to this, $53.2 billion as of June 2021. It's the largest academic endowment in the world. Its value increased by over $10 billion in fiscal year 2021, ending the year with its largest sum in history. Okay, so they're not playing around. They're not playing around at all. Richard James on the check-in. Salute to you, sir. I know you're broke. Don't worry. Tell friends. Tell two. You already know the story. Tell 10 friends. Don't tell the 11th one. Let them keep guessing. I salute to you. I definitely thank you for your viewership. So now back. The viewership is funny. I'm back to zero, which I think is fake. I think there's one person at least in there. I think Richard James is still there. Whatever. I'm talking about college and universities. And like I said, the number one is Harvard University. And I was concerned with the movie The Social Network, one of my top 5 movies of all time. Excellent editing, acting, writing, directing, wardrobe. I mean, like, it just didn't fail. It's a shame that the King's speech, which is completely irrelevant and not a factor and nobody cares about at all, one of the best picture. It's because of some old fogies that love to hear cuss words. Oh, he said the F word. He said the C word. Oh my God. This is a great movie. This is an excellent movie. And they just voted for that instead of the Social Network, sadly. And I'm not a big fan of the Golden Globes, but at least they had enough sense to call the Social Network as the greatest dramatic movie of 2010. But I think the awards were 11. But anyway, it's new. It's a totally different era. And just a few miles away from my house, there are kids unloading SUVs. They got their chairs and their shelves and some pieces of wood to make a bed. That people are going to sleep on, of course. And with other people, of course. But that's it. That's what college is all about. It's exploring. I never went to I went to a community college. There were no dorms. I went to Delaware Technical and Community College for just a semester. And I said, you know what? This ain't it. I ain't getting nowhere with this. I'm not getting anywhere. And so I looked up. It was a few months later. I said, you know what? Let me call about the. Let me see about my then girlfriend. And see what she, when did she graduate from the Marines? And now she has multiple degrees. So imagine that. But I have 0 degrees. So think about that. But I was talking to the Marine Corps recruiter, like, hey man, what's up? They do that, the whole spiel, the whole, hey, what's up, man? How old are you? Okay, you're 18. All right, great, man. You're 19 or whatever. That's great, man. Well, let me stop by the house. Let me come pick you up. Take you to the station, and you sign your life away. That's the classic story. But back to college. I mean, this is the weird thing we have about college and universities, especially in regard to the military. Because they say, like, you don't want to go to college? Here, go to the military. But what about the officers? Officers go to college. They have to have at least 4 years of learning and a degree to advance to the OCS, or the Officers Candidate School, or and then the basics TBS, the basic school, and so many other different things. Let me make sure I say it right. I'll make sure. The Reserve Officers Training Corps. It's a college program offered at more than 1,700 colleges and universities across the United States that prepares young adults to become officers in the United States military. And I remember that in high school. They're the junior ROTC. They're preparing to prepare for military service. So I don't understand what that whole issue was. And I mean, that happened back in the 60s. They had the different schools that stopped the ROTC programs, and that was a big kerfuffle, because that was during the Vietnam War. There were universities that were shutting down all over the country, and that was a shame, because even though it was a horrible, horrific, and evil war, you don't go against your own troops. You don't go against the men and women that are fighting for freedom of Americans, not freedom of Vietnamese or the Japanese. Even though it's a runoff, it's like you get the side effects. They get the side effects, especially with like things like with Japan. We dropped the bomb on Japan, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm going way off, but we did that in order to end the war on both sides. End the war for us, selfishly, to say that we don't want to have any more of our GIs killed, and also to preserve peace for the other side, so they're not killed. To preserve peace for the soldiers and the civilians that are fighting on their turf. I digress, though. I go all over the place. College and universities. It's all in today. This is the weekend. This is the weekend for all of that. And this is one of my favorite. This is my favorite time of the year, I think. I love this time of year. I love the end of August and September and October, and especially October. October is the greatest month, I think, in the year. Has all four sports playing. You have the MLB postseason, the NFL just starting the season, or in the start and slash middle of the season, and hockey and basketball are just starting with their exhibition games, and just starting, with the beginning of their seasons. So it's a wonderful time of the year. The air gets crisp and cool, and pumpkin spice everything. There's pumpkin spice condoms, I guess. I don't know. Pause. It's pumpkin spice, diaphragms. It's pumpkin spice, I don't know, dildos or whatever is for whatever you want to do. Hey, whatever you want to, whatever floats your boat, whatever get you going. But back, in college and universities, it's the social life. It's making new friends. People, that's the best part that I understand about college. It's not just the degree. In America, it especially is about the degree, in the sense of I have to get a job. I have to work. I have to pay for my housing. I have to pay for my cars. I have to pay for so many different things that it's an issue. You have to think about how, you have to pay for your meals. You have to pay for all your clothing, what you're gonna wear. I know it's not gonna be like decadent. You're gonna wear sweatpants and hoodies and sneakers or slides, to class, and then you're gonna wear boots if you're in cold weather parts of the states and in the country. You're gonna be wearing hoodie, more North Face coats and Columbia coats and hats and Ugg boots and Timberlands. That's what's gonna happen. So just get prepared for that. I mean, that's the big thing about the social aspect of college. That's what that resonates the most. It's the fact that you're thinking about not just your fiscal costs of your tuition, which is exorbitant and ridiculous, and the reason why is because of government intervention, because the government has its hand in the different schools, has its hands all over, even in private schools like Harvard. And it is a great idea too. This is the first time in I think over 50 years that affirmative action was not taken into account. It's a trail. It trailed into, but definitely next year will be the first time where there will be no affirmative action applied to the students coming in to the colleges and universities. That's a major feat. That's an act of justice. That's when the Supreme Court got something right. Get rid of affirmative action, because it's not about being, going through hardship or having a certain color of your skin or your eyes, eye color. It's about your own merit, your ability to achieve, your ability to know better, to do better, to create something in your life. And that's the thing about, with America. America is about, I got to get a degree in order to get a job to pay for all this stuff, to pay back my student loans, for one thing. I got to get at least a job where I got to get at least a master's or something, so I can get a job just to pay back what I used to get this knowledge, to get the degree. It's like it's a vicious circle because of the government. It would be a virtuous circle if there were no involvement by the government. But that's where we are right now. We have to fight for us to be completely free in the academic sphere. So, in other parts of the world, and I'll say this, America is very intelligent. A lot of people call us, I'm going to say a word, dumb fuckistan, call us stupid, call us all kinds of names, but we have brilliant people. They're at the top. I mean, Chris Rock had a joke, he said there's some F's, some A's, a lot of B's and C's. That's America. B's and C's. We're very good and satisfactory. We're not exceptional on a grand scale. We don't all have PhDs. We don't all have dropouts that created multi-billion-dollar Silicon Valley corporations. It's very few. It's a very select few. And same thing with F students. Those are the life-term criminals and stuff like that. We have very few of those, even though the population of the prisons is the most in the world, 2 million plus. Still is not as many as the majority of America. It's a very small amount of criminals, even though the news cameras and reporters would report otherwise. So like I said, America is very intelligent. Even though if they're getting B's and C's, they're very intelligent because they have common sense. That's one thing going for Americans. They have common sense. But the world needs more than common sense. You need to be an intellectual. You need to be able to engage with ideas and understand the reality of what is going on in the world, within America and the world. So it's not just about getting a job. That's not just what you get for a degree. That's the best part also of social engagement in colleges and universities. You get to learn about wine lists. You get to learn about different yoga poses. You get to learn about different automobiles and different ways to carve different figurines. Like, there's so many different ways you can understand. I mean, Lewis Black even had a joke. He said, if it weren't for my horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college. And he said that may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, I'm paraphrasing. But that was just like a classic joke about, what happens with college. That's non sequitur, completely almost nonsensical quote he overheard in a restaurant before. I don't know if that's invented or actual occurrence, but that's still something that's very interesting to contemplate. You know, if it weren't for my horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college. I said that again because it bared repeating. It bore, or was it bear bore? It bore repeating. I'm not a college, as you can see, I'm not a college graduate. I would have known uh, the proper terminology there. Um, but yeah, it's social. It's like it's something I could never understand or never comprehend for myself. Balancing the social life with the academic life, because you want to do both. You obviously want to graduate one day, but you want to have some fun in between. You want to go to the best parties. You want to hang around the best people. You want to make friends. You want to have a good time. You want to get drunk. You want to get crunk. You want to you want to get white girl wasted. and that's what happens. We don't talk about that, but that's the best part about art, and art shows that the social network. I mean, it's a multiple meanings. The social network is of course Facebook. It's of course social media. It's of course people going online and communicating with each other, but it's also a means for us to celebrate the fact that we have achieved college, because that's a definite achievement. You got to go through grades in school and pass tests, SATs, and different tests of that magnitude. That's what you have to go towards. That's what you have to swim towards. So Americans are intelligent, but not particularly intellectual. That's for Europe. That's for East Asia. That's for South America. Africa, even. Africans are very intellectual. If you're like I said, if you're at the HBCU level, you're more intellectual because, like Toni Morrison said, you want to find black people that were thoughtful, that had ideas, that want to exchange those ideas with you. And that's what happened. And that's what continues to happen until I guess they abolish HBCUs. Because I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't see the point of an HBCU right now. I think black people are smart enough and wise enough to be able to go to any college, state, otherwise. There shouldn't be state colleges, first of all. There shouldn't be state universities. They should be all sold off to private means. They should all be, set off, put on a chopping block, and sold off like slaves. That's it. That's the point I want to make about how we take in all the news clips, but the art is what separates us from just the experience of the news of journalism. It lets you know what people really are like, unless it's like narrative journalism, and then they get into the nitty gritty and the facts of college life and what it's like and how many people are getting laid and or having beers and just or doing fraternity stuff, sorority stuff. Fraternities and sororities are weird. They just do goofy stuff. They do, they have drinking games. They have people dying literally over, some game, and some sorority girl says, I'll cunt punt people, and that parts of her, this is very strange and weird worlds, and then they get their tattoos, the mega sci-fi got the omega sign on their arm, and maybe it's the right arm, I don't know. But hey, it's college time. It's university time. Hope everybody has a great year. And all those seniors, this is your last hurrah. Don't spoil it. Enjoy it. All right. Have some reviews. I'm gonna try to segue from the movie Social Network to another movie that's completely different. This is a science fiction film called Crimes of the Future by David Cronenberg, written and directed by David Cronenberg. And within it is a connection I made to another movie by another David O. Russell, called Amsterdam. Now these are two varying pieces of film, because one takes place in the future and the other place takes place in the past, but they have similar overlapping themes, I think. And Crimes of the Future, there's an idea of us being manipulated as being somewhat another being besides human beings. We're beyond what it means to be human. There's plastic involved. I'm not going to tell you exactly how that is, so I'm not going to spoil it. There's various surgeries and different ideas behind what David Cronenberg is famous for. He's famous for showing the anatomy and the ways of the organs and how they interact and what happens, and if this is in fact a snuff film or if this is in fact a real film like Videodrome, a previous effort he had back in the 80s, one of my favorite movies. Probably top 50. Definitely top 50. But I go to Amsterdam. Amsterdam was based on real characters, but they fictionalized them. One was United States Marine Corps Officer General Smedley Butler, who received 2 medals of honor in his lifetime. And that's what was amazing. But he said that he didn't want to be involved in what would be known as the military industrial complex, but that's either a misnomer or something that's completely false. He wanted to become a pacifist, which is also false. You shouldn't be a pacifist. There's no room enough for pacifism, because once you say that you're a pacifist and you're attacked, then what do? You still continue to be a pacifist? And any other nations that become quote unquote pacifists, what do they do? Do they continue on with their ideals? It cancels out. It definitely damns everybody. So this Amsterdam movie has an ensemble cast. It's got everybody from Chris Rock to John David Washington, Taylor Swift, Margot Robbie, Rami Malek, Zoe Saldana, and it just is a interesting thing. It made me think. It really did make me think about who it was. And Greg S is in the building. Respect to this troll, this hater. This free rider, this freeloader. But and the opposite is, yeah, but you can make it a button. It does when you go to Cash App. There is a button on Cash App. You have to tap it. You have to tap however much money you want to send. I thank you anyway for your trolling, but anyway, so I think the overarching, ideas of both films was anatomy and the body and humanity itself. With Crimes of the Future, it was about either, from what I understand, I tried to take it as much as I could. It was like extracting organs and then replacing them and then taking them out and not having them and being able to function and being, still a human being. And then Amsterdam was these soldiers, Christian Bale and John David Washington. Christian Bale lost his eye. Both of them sustained severe shrapnel wounds, and they showed in graphic detail, and the different wounds, and it shows also, X-rays and anatomical figures and everything like that. So I think it just made me wonder. I mean, if anybody else made that connection between the two movies, if they saw Crimes of the Future and Amsterdam. Now, both films didn't do anything anywhere at all at the box office. Both of them were, terrible, box office, but movies, they were pretty good. They were very good, I think. They weren't excellent, but they were very good. It was kind of, like I said, Amsterdam even had Robert De Niro. He played a character similar to Smedley Butler, the Marine Corps general with the two medals of honor. And that's what's so amazing to me. The fact that these movies were, totally different. And yet, few people even recognize that if they've seen both of them. I just happened to watch, I don't remember where I heard about Crimes of the Future, but I remember seeing Amsterdam being advertised on either Netflix or Hulu. I can't remember. One of the streaming services. But they both, made me think. I like movies that are very cerebral and you have to figure it out on your own. They give you enough, details and pictures and thoughts. And that part of it was, pretty exquisite. It was pretty good. I like the fact that, Margot Robbie got to kiss what's his name? Hold on. John David Washington. Something that would have been forbidden. I don't know why. There's no reasoning. There's no reason why a black man can't kiss a white woman on screen. They never really explained that to me. I want somebody to sit down and explain that to me scientifically. Why it's wrong to show that. Why it was wrong in the past and sometimes even now in the present. Was that the reason why it flopped at the box office? I wonder why. I really wonder why. And this is one of David O. Russell's best movies. And he has had some pretty good movies. He had Silver Linings Playbook. He's had I Heart Huckabees, among others. So this is something he should be proud of. He can hang his hat on this one. He could definitely hang his hat on it. And the box office was $31.2 million. That's like Margot Robbie's almost salary, I think. So she took a cut, and they didn't make much. They didn't make much at all. He made Joy, and he has multiple associations with oh God, what's her name? Oh my God. Hold on. Just give me a minute. I hate my brain. It doesn't work right. It messes me up. It messes me up because I'm trying to think of her name. It's not helping. Jennifer Lawrence. She hates the word J Law. Jennifer Lawrence. He worked with her. He worked with her and Robert De Niro on Joy and Silver Linings Playbook. So that was part of a lot of fun. But even though Jennifer Lawrence wasn't in this movie, she it was still a lot of fun to see Margot Robbie. Amsterdam flop due to marketing. You think it was marketing? I think it could have been marketing. I think it could have been a little bit shorter. If he had shaved off a little bit of time and had not had the wide range of acts, even though they were good, everybody played their roles well. But I think that it didn't challenge its own self. It didn't live up to its own hype. It had a whole lot of people, focused on the story, but it kind of was uneven. It wanted to be a lot of things at one time. It wanted to be the friendship story. It wanted to be the anti-war story and everything like that. And Greg Ash is saying, yes, Taylor Swift was in the movie. We see her fan base now. Yes, they did little to promote that she was in the film. It's facts. Okay, I'll give you that. I respect that. I'll give you that, Greg. Now hit the donate button. I know there's no donate button here, but when you get to Cash App, there definitely is a button that you press or tap or click that says that you're sending money my way, and that's all I'm worried about. All about a dollar sign, all about this cash. But that's the reigning principle behind it. I think it's still amazing how I'll make some cash. What you gonna sell some bussy, huh, Greg? you gonna hit the track? You gonna hit the blade? Sell on what your mama gave you? I'm messing with you. No, I'm not. No, but okay, Crimes of the Future, especially. Okay, her name is Léa Seydoux. She is an excellent actress. She was in The Lobster. I definitely needed to see her in this film. She has a rousing speech towards the end that really resonated to me. That really, tugged at my thoughts, tugged at my ideas, tugged at what I was supposed to be like, what I was supposed to be, what this world is supposed to be, what we're supposed to be as human beings. And it just, it was she does an excellent job, along with Viggo Mortensen. Those two especially. I know there's more, actors and actresses that do, fine jobs in their roles, but these two especially, Viggo Mortensen. Hold on, let me make sure I get his name right because I respect this man. Mortensen, yeah, Viggo Mortensen. He also, I like when actors show up in the same director's movies. I think that's cool. They have an understanding, they have a relationship. It's sad when there's a falling out, but it's great when they have the idea. A lot of people talk about David O. Russell, saying he's a good director artistically, but a bad person to work with. He's not a good human being. I don't know. I've never met the man. I never worked with him. But I can tell by his movies, the ones that I enjoy, including Joy and I Heart Huckabees, and this movie, Amsterdam, and American Hustle, different movies like that. He works with Jennifer Lawrence. He works with Robert De Niro a lot. He works with Christian Bale. He knows what he's doing. So, all the hatred that's is spewed in his direction, I think it should be reserved for poorer music directors like Spike Lee, who was once one of my favorite directors, until I got, understood, the reality of objectivism. I have to give him his credit. I'm going to have to change the name of this title now, but I'm not going to say it all along. I just got a word that Bob Barker, who was 99 years old, of The Price is Right, has died. Yes, he has died. This just in. Breaking news. He was 99, just like Betty White. Just almost on the goal line to 100. Almost there, just stop. Bam. But he had a totally different effect on my life. I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna fish up with Crimes of the Future and Amsterdam. They both had a central theme of, human life and humanity and the body parts that make up humans and what creates us. Christian Bale's character loses an eye. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler alert. But that's what happened. That's what I think. That was my take. Yeah, he just Greg has said it best. R.P. that old ass cracker. Bob Barker. But that's my review for both of those movies, and I try to connect them. Thank you. And I'm going to talk about Bob Barker for a moment. Then I'm going to get into my own story. Bob Barker had every opportunity to be a 99-year-old white man in America. There weren't many roadblocks for him. Nobody was stopping him unless it was another white man. He was able to do his thing. And Drew Carey, they're going to have a special. They're going to have a Drew Carey, reminiscence story. Yeah, you got to watch Crimes of the Future. Crimes, it's plural. Crimes of the Future, Greg. But in fact, no, you know what? I'm not going to do that. That could be a steering charge. I was going to give you the link, but I'm going to fall back from doing that. But no, hey, he had it. He had a good. That's a great 99 years. That's a run. That's a great run. And a white man in America, come on, with money, come on. You can't shed a tear for that. You can't shed one tear for that. He had a whole show for decades. He retired. He did whatever he wanted. He had a sexual assault case a few years ago, and he beat. He didn't have any charges against him. I think he just had, it was just like on a face-to-face situation. It was just some kind of situation behind closed doors, something like that, behind the scenes. But 99, white man with money in America. I can't shed a tear. The tears won't fall. Won't fall for him. Can't let a tear go down my eye. So I'm gonna let the song cry. I'm gonna let the song cry because I can't. He had a great life. What do you want? He helped control the pet population by getting your cat or dog spayed or neutered. Maybe they wanted him dead. They're happy they're dead. Cats and dogs. They didn't get fixed. It's a totally different game. But no, he had a good life. He had a great life. He had a good run. Salute to him. He was a veteran. Let me see what. I think he even flew. Let me see. Make sure. Bob Barker. I think he was in. Let me see. Let's see here. Let me see. Hold on. He joined the United States Navy Reserve in 1943 during World War II to train as a fighter pilot, but did not serve on active duty. During leave from the military, he married his wife on January 12, 1945. After the war, he returned to Georgia to finish his education, graduating summa cum laude with a degree in economics. Well, he knew about economics. He knew how to get that bread. He was active from 1950 to 2007, and then 2009 to 2017. He was mainly a game show host his whole career, from 1972 to 2007. That's some years. That's some decades. I can't shed a tear. So he didn't fly any missions. He didn't really fight in the war, but he was still a veteran. So I give him that much. Salute to him. So that's very interesting. I mean, what is it? Is it really interesting? Is another white man dead? Good life, great life, life that many people will not be able to experience, and he had it in spades. Here it is. Diane Parkinson filed a lawsuit, wasn't criminal, but alleging sexual harassment following a 3-year affair while working. It's from Wikipedia. On The Price is Right. Parkinson, who alleged that she was extorted by threats of firing, later dropped her lawsuit, claiming the stress from the ordeal was damaging her health. Damn, he just wore the broad out. Another one, Holly Hallstrom, filed a suit against Barker, alleging the reason she was fired was not so much because of her 14-pound medication-mediated wealth gain, as documented, but because, to Barker's displeasure, she refused to give false information to the media regarding Parkinson's suit. So it goes back to other women, as she alleges Barker had requested she do. Barker countersued for slander, but Hallstrom prevailed, receiving a settlement in 2005. Undisclosed, we don't know how much. All right, so then in 2007, Deborah Curling, a CBS employee assigned to The Price is Right, filed a lawsuit against CBS, Bob Barker, and The Price is Right producers, claiming that she was forced to quit her job after testifying against Barker in a wrongful termination lawsuit brought by a previous show producer. Curling claimed that she was demoted to an intolerable work environment backstage, which caused employees and contestants, which black employees and contestants were discriminated against. A few months later, Barker was removed from the lawsuit, and in September 2009, the lawsuit was dismissed. Curling's attorney stated that he planned to appeal the dismissal of the lawsuit. In January 2012, the California Court of Appeals affirmed the dismissal. So this man was like Teflon. He didn't have, except for the settlement. Who knows how much that was? But yeah, he had plenty of time to get right, even if those were people were going back and forth at him, the women or females. Yeah, so that's what it was like. Ain't no thing. He was a white man living in America with money. Old white man. 99 years old white man. That's all. That's all you gotta worry about. You ain't gotta cry. You ain't gotta shed a tear for that. Are you serious? This man? I mean, this is my childhood right here. I remember, this goes back to everybody. I think it's a universal thing. When you're sick or you're home from school, and your grandparents or somebody has to watch you, what's the first thing to go? I probably can't say anymore because I'll go get a copyright strike. But we watched Wheel of Fortune when you were sick or you were off of school, something for a holiday or something, election day or something crazy. You'll be watching Wheel of Fortune with you. Not Wheel. Excuse me. Price is Right. I said the wrong thing. The Price is Right. So, reverse all that. The Price is Right with your grandparents or your your aunts or your uncle. That's what happened. You be watching The Price is Right. I guess the price was right this time. The price of life. He was right. 99 years. That's a good price. That's a good price on life. 99 years. I say it's a good price. I say that's a mighty fine price. So I'll say like Greg I said, rock and power or RIP to that old cracker. Because he wasn't worried about me. He wasn't worried about my black ass. That's for sure. Don't worry about me. He was worried about the almighty dollar too. Probably worth what? 100 million? Something like that? Something crazy. Bob Barker net worth 70 million estimated because it's different reports, but mainly people are saying 70 million he was worth. But he looked like he was about to be out of here. He looked kind of like a really old version of the oatmeal, the Quaker Oats box dude. He was looking like that. So I think he still had his mind about him, though. I don't think he was like slipping. They didn't say anyway. But there's no worries about him. I'm not worried about him. R.I.P. Rock and Power. Good to go. All right, last few minutes. Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air. Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air. What can I say more about it? I have to say, again, that it is just a chapter. I may go further. I may go harder. I just wanted to do a chapter at least to get a good understanding of what it meant. To get a clear vision of who I want to be in this book, this chapter. I always say book because other people say, "Oh, you got a book? You got a book?" No, it's a short story, and it's just a chapter. It's a chapter and a short story at the same time. I mean, you can probably stretch it out to make it a book, but I'm still considering that. That's one thing I'm considering. But I have to get out to this message, understanding what it means to be someone that is conveying the idea of Delaware. I've said this before. So many other cities and states have been represented for their location. Now, like I said, Dead Poets Society was shot in Delaware, but it doesn't have any connection to Delaware. And the only other story I know about Delaware, one moment, let me make sure. Let me make 100% sure. It's not showing me. Of course it's not showing me. Of course not. It wouldn't. Let me see. The Jimmy Show. The Jimmy Show actually has people go to Delaware. But it doesn't, show it. It's not even shot in Delaware. It's shot in Staten Island. So that was a bust. But Ruler of the Kingdom of the Air is all about self-knowledge, discovery, and money. Because I love the idea that money is the root of all evil when we know for a fact that it is not. It's the root of all good. And what is the root of all money? Productiveness. Creating, making, building. That is the truth. So I want to thank you for rolling with me. I appreciate this hour-long show on a Saturday. I'm just testing it out. This is probably not a good time to do a show. Probably later on I might do another one because it's going to be a little later in the day. But I do appreciate Greg definitely for chopping in, and for Richard James as always. But I salute him and I salute both of them. So make sure you tune in. Tell 10 friends, leave the 11th hanging. And I will see you soon. Thank you very much. Take care.